Yeah, looks good.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I'll give everyone about a minute to roll in, and then we'll get started here.
Sounds good.
Finally.
Good to go, brother.
Yeah,
Good to go.
we're 5 minutes late, just like last time. We're gonna get better at that, but we are having a little bit of technical difficulties, mostly on my end. All right, so we have some people in here. So I guess it's a good time to get started. Welcome everyone to episode 2 of the NFT Gaming Podcast. I'm Tyranitar, and I'm joined by my hosts, AAA Drifting, Striker, and Yusuf under here. And today we have our special guest, Mitch, also known as Tromos, down here. Mitch, anything you want to say to the viewers?
What's going on, everybody? I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to be on your show to talk with you guys all about something that I think we're all really, really passionate about, and to have some intelligent, sort of fun conversations that aren't just sort of talking in circles.
Yeah.
We're
100%.
We're all looking forward to it. Yeah.
Which is something I get a lot of on Clubhouse. So I'm excited. I'm excited to talk with some people that are really into this stuff and also have a really forward-looking view of the future.
100%. And I know a lot of people are here to hear who won the Lambo giveaway. We'll be telling all you guys at the end of the podcast. So make sure you're here for the next, hour and a half, something like that. And we'll be announcing who won. So just to introduce Mitch, actually, I feel like it'd be better if Mitch introduced himself. Mitch, tell us about yourself. Tell us what you're passionate about. Oh, you're muted.
Hey, newbie. Where to begin? So I've been in the video game industry professionally for over a decade. I've worked for free-to-play game companies, making games on like Facebook and on mobile, and in the last several months have sort of fallen over in love with blockchain games and sort of this entire space. And to me, I see this as possibly the next frontier in games, and it's something that I'm not just in as a player, but as a creator. I'm always looking forward to the future. And, I've found myself amongst this fine group of people over the last few weeks, and have really sort of enjoyed getting to know you guys and share my own thoughts and get your own sort of takes on this industry as well. And I'm just sort of eager to contribute. For those who don't know, I run my own little crew. We call ourselves the Yield Squad, where we all talk about blockchain games. We are also obsessed with Lost Relics. We play a lot of Alien Worlds. For anyone who's probably already heard everyone talking about Alien Worlds, that's where a lot of us like to reside. So yeah, without any more shameless self-plugging, I'll shut up.
No, it's necessary. So I think it'd be good I think we'll get to Alien Worlds, we'll get to Wax. I think we should talk about what's on everyone's mind, and I'm sure a lot of the people in the stream have been thinking about it. Let's talk about the update. Let's talk about Cliff's announcement about the new building that's going to be in Lost Relics. Whoever wants to get us started, feel free.
I'll jump in real quick. I do think it's extremely interesting. I'm not gonna lie, when that update came out, it got me, for the very first beginning, as I was reading through it, very intrigued. And once he started going through the details, and just to break down the details for anyone who hasn't read the Medium post that Cliff wrote, with respect to the update, we are going to be getting a new quote unquote blockchain emporium, where players in game will be able to make transactions, buying and selling specifically blockchain items, and in return earning a currency that can only be, transferred or purchased with Genge, related to JumpNet. So, some very promising times are ahead. I'll leave it to y'all to speculate what kind of frenzy we might have in the next 2 to 6 weeks. Who knows? But yeah, I'm extremely excited. I think it opens up a whole bunch of possibilities. What do y'all think?
I'm very excited for it, mainly because there is right now with Apex Legends, there is this barrier, and I feel like all these items are just like in a sense throttled. You can't. There's all these items that are stuck in the game wallet, and you can't really access it between players, and you can't really use it to craft, let's say, all these legendary tools that are now going up a lot in value. Same thing with the blue or the green scissors. So I feel like having that gate open up is gonna expand on the items that people could craft and can hopefully even get in dungeons. Because think about it this way: the more items drop, the more items actually get kind of circulated around the pool, the more drops people will get, and I feel like that will keep people hooked on the game.
For sure.
That's what I'm excited for.
For sure, for sure. And to expand on that, I was going to say just the overall flow of the game, whether it's completing bounties or, like you said, just going into a dungeon and finding a blockchain item relating to bounties. I think it'll flow a lot nicer with, people having easier access to buy them at this new Emporium, being able to complete them, then having them put back into the pool for someone else to find. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, and I want to backtrack actually a little bit, just for the people who are in here who might not have seen the update or might not know the implications of the update, and even like earlier than that, might not know why it's happening. Essentially, we have our wallets. We have our engine wallets, which hold our NFTs, and you can buy a bunch of these NFTs in the Nginx marketplace. And how our Lost Relics items exist there is because there was a time where Ethereum gas was really low because the network wasn't congested. So you could freely transfer out of game wallet and you would pay transfer crystals. But the fact of the matter is right now, and for a while, gas has been too expensive. So it would have been too expensive to transfer these blockchain items you get in game out of game wallet. So this solution that Cliff is making is to kind of supplement that and make it so that we can still trade our items without them being stuck in game indefinitely. So the idea of the Emporium, for people who don't know, is essentially just it's a solution so that we can trade freely and so people can get upgrades without having to wait to get lucky and get like a mythical drop right now, because there isn't a lot of stuff minted for new players. So you could put your blue weapons, your epic weapons on the Emporium, and other people can buy them for, instead of 2 ENG plus $80 of gas, you're paying 2 ENG. So that's the idea behind that. And I think it's a really good idea. And having said that, I think Mitch wanted to speak up about it a little bit before I rudely interrupted.
Yeah, I'd love to get Mitch's perspective from your previous work history.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so I think the idea of the way that the original Emporium is designed is really, really clever for a lot of reasons. Just the inherent approach of matching buy orders with sell orders allows items to reach a real natural price level that the market dictates, and doesn't easily allow for high levels of exploitation. I think the idea of moving this approach to blockchain is going to work really well, and is going to allow us to like quickly transact items, and we're going to see the return of items back into the economy just reignite things on a way that we haven't seen in weeks. When right now, like, things are pretty scarce in a lot of places where people are getting hyped over getting a couple of ingots on a random one-off bounty turn in. Like, that's going to be the regular thing that we see all the time, I think, now, when you've got a circulating pool of 50,000 ingots that are going into the pool constantly, that are moving around, that are not really being held because the cost to the turn-ins are so frequent for those people, and the value of those items are so expensive to move. So I think we're going to really see some improvements once things consolidate back into the game. Rather into the like that central holdings.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think it's like that's the thing, is like right now you can see it recently. There's a huge it's been kind of settling down a bit, but like something like the ingots is a really good example of like there are hundreds stuck on wallets, and it's just like realistically not a good idea to buy 1 or 2 ingots and pay $40 in gas fee if you need a green tool. So as a result of that, the ingots, brunite ingots, steel ingots, are stuck in players' wallets who might not necessarily be able to craft them. And if they are able to craft them, they can charge a pretty hefty price. That's why you've been seeing, as the influx of new players and more demand comes, the price of the tools skyrocketing to 20x what they were when I started a month ago. And that's only one tier of the thing. Like, resources is such a small portion of that too. It's like looking at something like what's a really good example? Slice of Life, right? It's so expensive in gold because it's literally the only upgrade you can make without going out of the game and spending money on engine gas. I think something like that's going to tank in price as soon as you're able to buy epic weapons in the game. Like, what do you guys think about that? Do you think there's a correlation with that, or am I just completely wrong?
I think the first thing that pops into my mind when you say that is that I personally think that there's probably going to be a like workup period. So it's going to take these items a little while, assuming, assuming it works as smoothly as we all are hoping. I do think it's going to take a while for the items to start circulating, but I do think it's one of those things where the faster that these items circulate, they continue to increase in speed rather than reduce how often they come out. You know what I mean? So if 1 week there's 50 ingots circulating through players' hands, like there's a drop, player gets it, sells it or crafts it, and then it goes back in, and that happens 50 times in 1 week. That's great. I do think in week 2 it might go to 75. In week 3 it might go to 100, and then it just continuously increases, right? Exponential growth, I guess you could say.
Yep. Yep. And that's the way I see it too. I think we're going to see honestly, in my opinion, I think we're going to see like a snowball effect of just, this happening. But while this happens, we're going to see a snowball effect of players coming in too. Because in my opinion, like for me, for example, when I started playing this game and I got my first blockchain, that's when I got hooked. And I didn't care if it was a 10-cent blockchain, dollar blockchain, or $1,000 blockchain. The second I got that blockchain, I was like, this is it. This is my space. So I think, with that, circulating pool just going back and forth between players, I think that is going to keep connecting the player base more and more. Is going to keep growing the player base more and more, just like a snowball effect.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think a big thing with that is, I feel like a lot of people, I see a lot of messages about this in the Discord, and I see it in game. Is one issue that people have with the game in general is right now, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just the high gas fees. It's hard to get upgrades in the game, and with this, you're going to be able to put in a couple dollars and go from green bows and katanas that you can lose every time you die to being able to buy blues. And on top of that, I see that Deck put this in the chat, but we don't even take into consideration forging with all this stuff. It's like we're gonna get that soon too, where it's like not only are we gonna get this influx of this blockchain emporium, we're gonna get this weapon forging, and we don't even know if it's blockchain, virtual, or a mixture of it, right?
There's a good chance that we're gonna get it first.
Yep.
Because if anyone read the very specific details of those patch notes, it says that the blockchain emporium stuff is going to come at the end, and what he's working on next is going to come first. And what he's already said, of course, on this show last week, for anyone who hasn't had a chance to watch it, that the forging system is coming next. So that should be 2 weeks?
Very exciting.
Maybe 3.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Now, I do want to talk to you guys about something. What is everyone's thoughts on the blind order book for blockchain items? Is that a good thing, a bad thing? What do you think?
Could you
confirmed?
Could you explain what that means for people watching?
So he said for about a year now, the in-game Royal Emporium has been allowing players to trade their virtual items through a blind order book, right? So essentially, you know how right now on the NGINX website, you have people, for example, like the Arcor's ring, where people just undercut each other, and then the price just keeps going down. What do you guys think of it being transparent, where you can see all the numbers, versus it being a blind order book where, where basically how it is in the virtual blockchain or the virtual emporium? What do you guys think of that?
I like blind order book, and
yeah,
I want to hear what everyone thinks, and then we can get to why. I like blind order book.
Yeah, I was gonna personally say I like the blind order book as well, only for the not so much the gamble aspect, but like the aspect that like you can kind of get a deal and you don't really, you don't know if you're getting a deal. You don't know if you can make a few bucks because you're kind of unsure of the market price. It says one price, you kind of offer in below, it doesn't fill. And then when it does fill, you have that sort of feeling like you got it better than market price, rather than just getting it at that listed price. So it sort of creates like demand for both the sellers and the buyers, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes and what people do with that.
Yep. Okay.
I guess if I had to be honest, I would prefer to have more information than the blind order book. But I completely see why it's a great idea in this case. Like, especially for brand new players that are coming into the space, you can already skip around the idea of having to teach people like what a bid is or what an ask is, and just go straight into this easy concept of what are you willing to pay, period. Don't worry about the other side, don't worry about the other player that's buying or selling the item you're interested in. Go ahead and just make your move based on what you're comfortable with. and then it just updates, the history of the item.
Okay.
Mitch, what do you think?
You're muted, by the way, Mitch.
Yeah,
Oh, there you
know.
go.
He
I
knows.
know. I was looking for it. So the thing to me, there's two things. So one, like I don't mind the blind order book approach. I think realistically we're going to see the market find natural prices of items, and that's a pretty healthy thing, especially when there's a healthy amount of buying and selling that's going to go on. And I think that we're going to see a number of people transacting in the marketplace far greater than what we have seen in the past. The biggest question to me is just on historical data and transparency, like knowing like one of the things that we're all sort of very used to in blockchain is having that historical record of everything when those items are moving around, moving between wallets, being bought and sold for specific prices. So if we're getting a similar level of transparency for everything that's happening, whether it's a delay or it is closer to real time, then I would have absolutely no complaints. If we're going to have no data about those blockchain transactions, I'm a little hesitant. I would be asking, why can't we have a log?
So I mean, I guess that I'd like to go a little deeper on your concept there. And the reason why is because I do think it's very important, especially for new players that are coming into crypto for the first time this year. Trying to understand like the concept of how crypto works. There's a lot of adopters right now that are just content with coming in because their group of friends are coming in or whatnot without doing the underlying homework on some of these experimental technologies. But the idea behind being on the Ethereum blockchain like really comes down to a security issue, because blockchain is such new technology. It's very common for chains for money to be lost, for chains to be to be forked, for people to go into these new situations that are not anticipated since this technology is growing, right? The average person will not understand or not immediately know what those risks are. Um, so that being said, we are currently switching from a decentralized system to a centralized system in Lost Relics. There are security issues that come with that. That being said, I understand that the game needs to proceed, and I'm more than happy and willing to trust Cliff versus another blockchain solution or experimental technology to solve the problem.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys. So we have I think people are very, very aware that there are an abundance of items that are stuck in Game Wallet, right? We have a lot of items that are stuck in Game Wallet. Some items have a majority of their total supply stuck in Game Wallet. And I think we're going to get a huge influx in players. I agree with Yusuf on that. I think we're going to massive adoption with this patch because there are going to be people that have a lot of stuff that are coming back to maybe sell some stuff and maybe want to play as well to make some money now that you can get some stuff and sell it quite easily. And you're going to get a lot of players who might have played before and didn't like the game because they couldn't get upgrades because of the gas fees. But regardless, I think we're going to see an influx in players. Having said that, even though there's going to be more demand, do you guys think that market prices of items in general are going to dip initially because people are going to be undercutting each other to get their sales? So something like a gradient pumpkin, I think, is the best example that I can think of on the top of my head. There are more than half of them in the game wallet. Do you expect that it's going to be something like the Nginx marketplace where it's like, oh, I'm going to post an Arcus ring for 1850 and then someone else is like, 1849. Like, do you think it's going to be like pumpkin list for 450? Oh, it's not selling? I'll put it for 350 so it sells right away. What do you guys think?
I mean, I guess I'll start it off because I kind of saw all of our emotions as Aaron brought up that question. Striker rubbing his beard, me drinking my coffee. So I mean, based on those sort of emotions, and based on our reactions, I think it could be like that for specific items and only for a certain period of time. I think maybe the more limited items won't really be affected because people are using those items, and I don't think people are in a rush to get rid of those items or sell them. Whereas with newer items that they may have found on an adventure, whether it's their first day, first week, or first month, maybe someone doesn't have the proper relics to go with that mythical weapon or something, and they could just use the funds. So I think in some cases, yes, in other cases, no. I think it really depends on the specific item and the quantity of the item.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
I
with that.
think I think it needs to come. I think it needs to be answered on an item per item basis. Um, so the two things that pop in my mind is that, okay, if you have a new player that's holding items in their, not a new player, but a player that's holding items in their in-game wallet. I mean, hitting these mythicals and hitting legendaries, I mean, and even like epics and transcendence, like it's difficult to do in general and build out a normal loadout. Like I see the reason. I see the reason behind needing to go to the Nginx marketplace previously to go ahead and like finish your loadout or improve your loadout, right? And it drives the player based economy, right? It's the peer to peer, me buying and trading with you all, right? So I think a lot of players that are going to be asking themselves that question, do I sell? Now that they have the ability to in game. Um, I think a lot of those players don't have the loadout that they would prefer. And I do think that there's a big chance that they could say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and sell these items and purchase these others, right? So I do think it's going to literally come down to an item per item discussion. But I think after a couple of weeks, I think all that, maybe 2-3 weeks over the course of, like, let's say an Easter event, quote unquote, I think things will settle down and continue to grow off into the future.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll be more specific then. I want to hear what you guys think about this because this relates to 4 of us, I think, excluding Striker. Okay, we started. I know for sure Yusuf. I don't know if Mitch started just before or just after, but when Jer, Yusuf, and I started, there were blood extinctions and obsidian cataclysms and cookies dropping for everyone. Okay, and the first thing we thought when we were getting Obsidian Cataclysm was, I know for a fact me and Jared were talking about this, is holy shit, this is worth 850 Eng on the marketplace right now. And we know now that a blue glowing katana, whether or not it's cool or not, is not worth 850 Eng. We're aware, we're aware. Maybe it's worth
No, it's
150.
200. It's
Yeah.
200, right?
Maybe it's worth 200, maybe it's worth 50, maybe it's worth 150, who knows, okay? But all I know is, look at the blood extinctions as a good example. There are 5,000 of those in games, most of which are in the game wallet, right? And the thing is, people want to get the best value before it tanks, right? So look at the golden eggs as a good example of this. A lot of people were selling their golden eggs as they got it for 5K when the event started, 3K, 1K, and eventually it stabilized, I'd say between 6 to 800 for most of the event, 5 to 800, whatever.
Yeah.
This is what I think. I personally think people are going to want to get their sales before it drops to a point. So I think if people are selling for 60, I think other people are going to be completely content being like, okay, I want this to instant sell at 40 before it drops to 20, just as random numbers out. Like, I personally think there are items like that, the Cataclysm, the blood extension, even the pumpkin, for people who are going to want to, like, maybe they think the pumpkin price is going to do a similar thing because they're being 189 in the game wallet. I think there's going to be people undercutting like crazy. Like, I think it's going to be like maybe selling for less than 2x of current market price when the game comes out. And I want your like specific opinions on items like that, where it's predominantly in game wallet and it's like a larger supply. Like, we're not talking if there were 30 Legion's Falls in the game and they were all in game wallet. I'm talking about like 400 supply items, 1,000, 5,000 supply items. What do you guys think?
Well, as I said before, we know that, and you agreed on this too, is we could see there being a snowball effect kicking in, I feel like, with this whole blockchain system now. So even though, yes, there's going to be a sell-off, there's also going to be demand rising because players are going to keep coming back. And new players will keep coming. New players will keep coming. And for example, something like the Blood Extinction or even the Obsidian Cataclysm, they have a nice effect. And I mean, I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, we all know this. There is a thing called shiny object syndrome where people love shiny objects, right? So something like a rare that has an effect is going to have more of a value over a rare that is just blunt. You know what I mean? So I do think that yes, it might drive the value of it down just a bit, but I feel like that person, for example, like, did you guys see that Bleeding Zircon that was selling for like 90K? It dropped all the way down to 46, and then it went straight back up to 80K. I think we're going to see the same thing, right? Someone might sell off that one item, but the price will go. I feel like the price will correct back to how it should, right? It's just supply and demand. That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be quick, especially for something like a pumpkin. What's the supply for that? Like 48? I think
it's
something like that.
I think it's like in the 350 to 400 range. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I think for something like that, even like it might drop a little bit in value, right? Because someone wants to sell off quick. But I feel like that might be a mistake, and then that's going to get bought up, and then the price will get pushed back up to how it should, right? That's obviously still going to depend on supply and demand, but that's just my thought.
Yeah, I think, when you have a new marketplace that's opening up, or a new category that's opening up in a market, or even a new item that's added to the market, what you will see is exactly what you describe. It's high levels of volatility right out of the gate. We saw this. A great example is looking at the Topps MLB packs in the last week, and of course we'll talk about this later on. But you see a similar level of behavior where something out of the gate will wildly spike in high ranges and low ranges of people that are trying to come in, depending on what the level of appetite is. There is no real knowledge right out of the gate of like how many people are really willing to sell, how many people are really willing to buy. And when we're going into a blind order system, it's going to get even more insane to me, because the minimum you get when you have a system like, like the top stuff is, what other people are listing things for. You can see and compare. In this approach, like, everyone is going to be basically bidding or pricing against themselves, and not really like, there will be an understood pricing floor amongst those that are in the active trading community, or those that are sort of already doing this kind of stuff. But for anyone who's just gotten items over time, like, they have no idea, and they may go in blind and just set brand new price floors that might disrupt everything. I would say the thing that we should expect the most is anything that has higher quantities will reach a normalized price faster. Things that have lower quantities will always have varying degrees of prices that are adjusted, because I think this will be the era or the point where we start to see people reevaluating pricing relative to USD price of Genge or whatever. And I think we'll start to see things reprice a little bit more frequently and quickly now that it doesn't actually cost money to change the price. I think that's what largely has kept the prices so stable on Nginx, is because it costs a gas fee to change your price, as opposed to being able to just change your mind and say, oh, actually, let's undercut again. Like, when it costs money to undercut, people choose often to just hold, and especially when the supply is so limited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a very good point. Now, I do want to mention another point here. I want you guys to think of it this way. This is on a similar topic, but a little bit different. What do you guys? Because right now we do know that in the previous Q&A you guys did with Cliff, he said that his original plan was to have everything be blockchain items, not virtual wasn't a thing until these gas fees became an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys think, and would you guys be okay if, let's say, and I'm just spitting this out there as just an idea, I want to know what people's thoughts are. If, let's say, Cliff comes up with a new system where he basically removes, or maybe not removes, but I'm just saying, like, maybe he takes all of the virtuals and mints all of them to like a very small amount of Eng, and he turns everything into blockchain. I feel like that might piss some people off, but for the long term, that might be a good thing. Because imagine a game like this with just every single item being blockchain. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's the dream, right? I think that's the end goal. I think we have a long way to go before then and now. And it's just going to be a bumpy road.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just me who likes the idea of two currencies?
And why do you like two currencies?
I don't know. It's like the opportunity to play two markets and kind of like price them against each other. It's like, I think the Ninja Kage is a really, really good example of this. It's like, okay, I want the Ninja Kage and I want it to make profit. Okay. Let's talk about, like, this is a hypothetical. Okay. Let's say I want to buy a Ninja Kage skin. They are in the shop and they are limited to 550K. And, maybe your way of doing it is like, oh, maybe if I spend $150 on pendants, I can get 550K. Now, do I think the Ninja Kage is worth $150 in terms of Eng value? You say yes, you do that and you buy the Ninja Kage. You say no, you don't. And I think it's like, if the game is completely two currencies, it kind of makes it really interesting where it's like you can make investments in one way and then play the market in other ways. Like maybe, I don't know. It's just like it's like a different opportunity. I think it's maybe I like it because it's different than games I've played before where it's just gold, or right now where it's like we're kind of mostly focused on, okay, I want gold to have my tools, and then the rest is going to be like, okay, I have my engine. But like, I don't know. I kind of like it if he like makes both pools pretty deep with virtual weapons as well.
I mean, I personally think that it brings in a new profession into the game, because you're going to have cooking, engineering, alchemy, and now you're going to have market flipping, or not flipping, but I don't know what the right word is.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
you
like
just
flipping.
You
flipping.
know what I mean? Like
Flipping,
they're
yeah.
flipping.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah, they are.
going to be a whole group of players that are just dedicated to that.
We already
You-
have that a little bit too.
Right, and that's with gas fees, right? So like my thoughts are that if someone's paying 50 eng or 100 eng for an item right now plus gas fees, and that item is going being sold, I don't know, one or two times a day, so we're talking about like an epic, I mean a rare item, maybe a rare relic that people really want, or a rare sword that are always they're going on the Nginx marketplace a lot. What's the reason for items like that to drop when people are making purchases and then paying gas fees? In this situation, you remove all the gas fees. Why wouldn't the rare sword hold its value? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I just think it's cool because it's like, okay, let's say you don't want to let's say we have the gold option and the blockchain option, right? And it's
Okay.
like, let's say forging comes out and it's only virtuals, right? And you can buy a blue sword for 10k coins. That's like going price in the market, or you can buy it for 4 eng, which maybe is $8 right now. Okay. And it's like, oh, maybe these are equal prices, but maybe I don't have money to put into engine. And it's like, I want upgrades anyways. So players can also benefit from it. There's also a negative side to that, in that you can die with it and you lose it. But it's like, I think it's opportunity to both players that want to get out of it being completely free to play. I mean, I guess you could argue that they can still be free to play by getting drops and then selling them for the currency,
And then flipping,
and then
you know what I mean?
flipping
Like,
for sure. Yeah, that's true as well. I don't know.
The only thing you need is an entryway into the market.
Yeah,
To me, that's like the biggest attractor of certain blockchain games, is that many of them like are walled gardens that you can't even get into without having to spend money. And I think if you lower that barrier and you create a ramp in which people can transition, like the sky is the limit.
that is a very good point. Yeah. Anything to add on that, Jay?
Yeah, no, I just I think it's interesting too. I mean, with lots of new players coming in too, like we're in such an early state, right? The game's still in early access, and we're all talking about this market, but it's you know what I mean. The market's coming out in such an early state that as more players start coming, I think the market's gonna get like like even crazier, and like you guys said, prices will start having certain floors. People will see certain bargains, prices getting too
Yeah.
low, other people looking for opportunities, whether it's long-term opportunities in months, weeks, maybe even a year. It depends how much people are stocking up, what people see. So I think it'll be interesting. And another thing too, to go back, is you guys were talking about the katanas and the blood extinctions, and about the high quantity, as well as all these changes that are coming out, with forging and the new blockchain emporium. Another thing too is Cliff has had these new dungeons blurred out. At any given time, he could release a new dungeon. Whether it benefits these players that have better weapons, whether it benefits the players that have newer weapons, or not so good weapons. So if these new dungeons have certain limits, like the pit has, for example, you can only bring in blue tiered. So if these new maps, let's say, have a blockchain item that you can loot, but you can only bring in a maximum of blue tiered items, that may raise the price of certain blues. And the same goes for epic, the same goes for legendary, and so on and so forth. So it's really dependent on what Cliff does and what he releases, and I think people will sort of gamble and invest based on what they think he's going to do.
yeah. No, that I agree with that completely. And it's like at the end of the day, also like I was bringing up the blood extinctions and cataclysms as an idea, and it's like realistically, like we're not going to see those items tank to the price of the regular blue weapons because people
Right.
like the swag. You know, you like the flair, having something cool, and it's like I think it's part of the reason the Frostbite Phantom is priced where it is too. It's like it looks sick. It looks the Obsidian Cataclysm looks better than most weapons in the game, not just blue weapons. So it's like I think like I said before, I think we'll see a dip initially just because people really want to undercut and just make their money and then make other moves. But I think we're probably going to see some sort of stabilization, maybe who knows, maybe a week's time. But I think it'll be a little bit more than that, maybe 2 weeks. But
Yeah.
Agreed.
Something I do want to touch on here, guys, is the incubator and the golden Evanbrook egg.
oh,
As you see, the way I see it is they're so similar, man. An incubator gives you how much? 6,400 health up to? Golden Evanbrook eggs give you 7,500.
6,000
right?
to 7,500. Yeah, 6,000 for the incubator,
Right.
and then 7,500. I think.
So, but now here's my thought. Right now, a golden Evanbrook egg, literally just sold for 500 eng.
Oh, really?
Right?
Oh, poor
Yeah,
Kenzie. You just
yeah.
sold one for 350 yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Is that
Now,
above or below what you thought?
I thought the price of the golden egg would drop a bit because now people have incubators, so the demand would be less. But clearly, I'm wrong. So my question now is, how would the incubators go? Like with this whole system in play?
This one's hard. This one's
Right?
really hard simply
Yeah.
because I know how much I think it's worth. I don't know when it's going to get to that price. Okay, this is the way I see it, okay? Let's say we think an item's worth 400 engine, okay? But a lot of the players that get this item are new players. And the price, let's say, actually,
New players are going to think in dollars. They're not going to think in engine.
okay, so let's say we have an item that we think is worth $400, right? And a lot of the items are like all of those are in the game wallet right now. But let's say like 150 of 400 are new players who just want to get some money out of the game. They just play the Easter event because they want to play to earn, you know? And they're okay selling it for $150. So with the pumpkin, it's interesting because we talked about it's 400. I'd say 450 to 500 and just market price right now. Okay, and I'm talking about an item tanking and then stabilizing back to where it was. But it's really interesting for items that don't have a market price because they're going to release at this time where people are trying to sell, and buy, right? So it's like, let's say there's an item that's worth $400, but it starts off at 150. Like, does it stabilize up to that point, or is something like undercutting going to be a hindrance on the market price of the incubator? Like, I think the incubator I think it should sit in between the price of a harvester and the price of a pumpkin. I think that because I think in this game, health is valued higher than energy. And I think it's not as good as a harvester because a harvester provides both. And that's my thought on it. But what do you guys think about that notion of stabilization at the actual value of it might be difficult if it starts really low?
Honestly, I mean, this is just personal prediction, and I have no clue what's gonna happen in the future. But I think that I think a lot of these items are gonna be like when we talk about them crashing, quote unquote, because obviously there's gonna be a big influx of sellers. Like, I think the opportunity on a lot of those items is gonna be so limited. Like, yeah, like pumpkin can crash to 200 or 150 eng. Like, yeah, but maybe that's only gonna be for 10 minutes out of one day out of this entire event.
That is
So
a
it's
good
for
point.
me, it's kind of like great if you were the one that was paying attention the moment it dropped and you hit the buy order. Congrats, But
Yeah.
in all honesty, there's no reason like a pumpkin, the pumpkin, the incubator, the harvester are all in the top tier of items that are in the game.
Yep.
And even if new players don't understand that, the players that are holding it and using it will understand its value. And yeah, they'll drop it because they want to create more value. But I think a lot of it, what I see could happen. I see a flash crash potential, but not like a long-term thing. Like, I think it could be literally on Wednesday. If you were playing the game on Wednesday and you bought, like, I'm making up a day, right?
Yeah.
And you bought on that day, you freaking killed it. Everything after that went back to normal. That's what I think is possible.
So,
But I don't know.
specifically though, like, okay, I think I agree with you there. I think it's going to be similar to a flash crash, and I think it's going to be that, and I think pumpkin will stabilize. I want to be there when crashing because I want to make some investments. But
By the dip, huh?
yeah, buy the dip. No, sell
Buy
the
the
dip,
dip.
buy the high. But like realistically, like I'm really curious about something like the incubator where we know where it should be, but what if it starts a lot lower than that? Like do you think that's going to affect people's mindset of like, oh shit, these are selling for 200 on release. Like, should I not buy them for 500? Like, do you think that's going to have an impact on the mentality people have when buying it or no?
I mean, I have my opinion, but I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think, Mitch?
I think it's mostly what we've already said. Like there's going to be a lot of volatility. Some people will get deals, some people will make mistakes, some people will forget to put zeros at the end of their prices,
It's true. It is true.
That's
I could tell a funny story of like something we watched that happen this week where someone sold a land on Alien Worlds in the Wax Marketplace for, instead of 55,000 wax, which would be the normal price currently in the market value, listed it for 5,500 wax and basically took a 90% haircut. It sold instantly. I watched the sale and went, "Oh my god!" And then like I went and looked, and that person had just bought it for 55,000 wax about 2 weeks prior. So this was not a mistake. Or I mean, this wasn't intentional. Like they weren't trying to like make some money. It was like, no, 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 you missed a zero.
that's a $9,000 difference for people who aren't familiar with wax. By the way, that's 1K. That's a 1K sale compared to 10K, and that
Yeah.
I'm sure whoever owns that bot that purchased it was pretty happy.
Man, I really hope that Cliff makes like if we do come up to the blind order book, and people start just placing their bids similar to how it is in virtual items. I really hope that for the blockchain items he says, "Are you sure? Confirm." You know what I mean?
I was
So
just
people
gonna
could
say,
double check.
yes. Yes,
Yep.
right? Like just like when you leave a dungeon, like, are you sure you'd like to leave a dungeon? Same thing with an item. Like, are you sure you'd like to sell for X amount? Just
Yeah.
that one extra step of verification could go such a long way.
Oh yeah, that's
But we'll see if
exactly
he
how I
does
feel.
that. We'll see.
So maybe let's get away from the market crash stuff and like maybe the flash dips or whatever.
Sure.
Where do you guys value the incubator? How it is now, assuming multiplayer doesn't exist and
Look.
multiplayer will never come. This will not be used in multiplayer. And where do you value how do you value the incubator, assuming that your teammates will be able to step on the eggs?
So, okay. So, from my personal perspective, I think the incubator is too far. I mean, I'm sorry, multiplayer is too far away to consider right now. That's just my personal thing. So when I come into that buy or sell decision, it wouldn't be based on multiplayer. Okay, so that's number one. Keep that in mind. Number two, the first thing that pops into my mind is we have a player base on average of 25,000 players a month, and we got an item that's limited to 400, a 400 count. Okay, I think that at any new event or any new update or patch of this type of significance is going to increase the population of the game, of the players in the game. If that's the case, I mean, I already think 25,000 players will be fighting over a 400 quality item. I personally don't. I mean, I think a flash crash. I know we keep going back to this idea, but it's just because the first time people get the opportunity to sell, like they should. I mean, if they earn something, they deserve to cash out. Like it really doesn't really even matter what the price of an item's worth. Like, it is the proof of concept model. It is literally when someone spent 10,000 Bitcoin on pizza, like everybody made fun or make the jokes about this idea of like, oh my God, how much Bitcoin you wasted. And I'm like, no, that was literally the spark of the economy. That literally started the transition from Bitcoin transferring from peer to peer in return for a service or good. It started everything. So like, yeah, there may be prices might go up or prices might go down, but I think it's the initial explosion of an engine that's literally starting up.
Where do you think the incubator should be though? Like what's your evaluation of it particularly? Aside from where like market implications, like where do you think it deserves to be in terms of pricing?
I think it deserves to be 600 plus. I don't think that's what they're going to sell for, but I think that's the utility that they could provide.
Well, here's what I think. Okay, I'm gonna base off all my predictions based on what other items are selling for, and I'm talking
Sure.
other legendary relics. Okay, So I think the closest thing we can all compare it to is the golden Evanbrook egg, right? Obviously, there's a difference. Golden Evanbrook egg gives you 5 health every second, up to 7,500, while an incubator gives you 1,200, right on the dot once you step over the Easter egg, right? In my opinion, I think that having an incubator that you can just step on, instant 1,200 health, is a lot better than a golden Evanbrook egg that you might not even use the full use case of, right? An incubator is better for speedruns. Golden egg is more of an insurance policy in case you need to sit in a corner and heal for a second, right?
Agreed.
With that being said, seeing that golden eggs are selling for, I mean, like I said, 2 hours ago, one just sold for 500 eng. That is a nutty number right there. But at the same time, it's going to come down to what the price of engine is, right? Right now, we just saw a dip in the crypto markets, or should I say all markets, even stocks. And I feel like that was a great opportunity for people to load up on Eng, which I think is actually gonna like. With that being said, I think that might help the Cliff's blockchain. We call it Cliff's blockchain because it's the blockchain emporium, right? I think that's going to help the emporium because now people have Eng on standby. I think people will be holding Eng. I know, I've talked to a couple people and they say, I'm going to hold on some Eng on the side and wait for the blockchain economy to come out, the blockchain emporium, so I could load up on some items. So I mean, I feel like everyone's thinking, this crash might happen, and I do see it, possibly happening in a sense. But I think at the same time that because everyone thinks it and everybody's looking to buy the dip, that it might not happen at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But going back to it, the reason this relates to the incubator is you see the thing about the incubator is that, and it's a weird spot, and that spot being all of the incubators are in Cliff's wallet, right? None of them are being traded on the Nginx marketplace. So I think that an item like that, or even the air piercer or the gogums, all those items are gonna have I'd say maybe even a few days of just price discovery mode, because like you never know, like maybe like a dad is playing this game. He just got lucky, got a golden ticket within his first golden egg, which we've seen happen. And he's like, wow, I got this item. I could sell it for, I don't know, 100 eng. That's like $200. That's great. I made $200 playing for, I don't know, 6 days. That's great, right? So I think that there's going to be some price discovery mode with that item, but I do think that over the long term, I do see it being more valuable than a golden Evanbrook egg.
Oh, your webcam left you.
Yeah, it's because I went in the AFK mode. I got kicked out. Yeah. Here.
Rip.
There we go.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's tough to just, going back to the incubator, I think it's tough to put a price on it because I, I think we need more people, I guess playing the game at a given time. Yes, we have 25,000 active monthly members, but I think there's certain people that are still looking to maybe sell an item and build sort of an edge balance. And there's some people, like you guys said, who have that edge balance, and some people who are looking to start their edge balance, may be willing to just sell it at any given price because they got it for free, or because they just got it by putting in their time. They may just want to get, anything they can out of it. And I think once those sort of players kind of start to diminish over time, and they get, well, not diminish, but let's say get bought out by other players who see more value in those items, and are willing to take advantage of that price, I think it'll start to create like a higher floor and a more realistic price point for certain items.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it's hard to give an exact price like on the incubator
100%.
or
Oh, yeah.
other items like that, just because no one really knows. It could change so much in a
Exactly.
day. Like no one knows.
You're
We have our speculations, but
you're right, and I
yeah, we'll
think
just have to see.
I think that was a bad question. I want to change my question, and then we'll change the topic. Of course, I just want everyone to answer. It doesn't have to be
Yeah, sure.
long. I just want your rankings. Okay, we have 4 items that are in similar categories. I think so. We have incubator, harvester, pumpkin, Evanbrook egg. Rank them from 1 to 4, and which ones you think should be worth the most.
Wait. Incubator,
which
harvester,
items?
pumpkin, and what?
Evan Brock egg, ruby Evan Brock egg.
Okay.
Or sorry,
Ruby?
gold.
Golden.
egg.
Okay.
I'm gonna go harvester, incubator, pumpkin, golden Evan Brock egg. Pumpkin is above golden Evan Brock egg strictly because it provides something that the others don't, but the incubator is more you can utilize it more than the golden Evan Brock egg. Short answer.
I would go.
Go ahead.
I would go harvester, pumpkin, incubator, egg.
Okay.
I would go the same thing that Striker just said for sure.
Same.
I'd probably do the same, but I only have the incubator out of the out of the 4. But I would probably do the
Yeah.
same, just knowing what they do. Yeah.
That's another really key important aspect. I think it happened to me when I started playing this game, so I don't know if it's going to continue or not. But because we're in early access, reading the item and using the item are two different things. Okay? And there's a lot of items that people hear about, but they had never actually seen someone use, whether it's on stream or like honestly, like you all like I didn't hit an egg demon. I used the egg demon for the first time yesterday. You know? And when I used it, I saw, wait, this does what? You
Yep.
know what I mean? So that type of like discovery is going to be happening in these markets.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
For
just
sure.
really interesting to note.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued because I remember us all talking about it, and I feel like most of us agreed on incubator in between pumpkin and harvester. But I guess that's changed. I guess as we've all used the incubator a little bit more. I'm still sticking with incubator above pumpkin, but I guess we'll revisit this at another date, maybe a little bit after the Emporium and stuff, and see what we think after talking to other people as well.
Fair enough.
I think it's the goodest time as any to transition to kind of like what Mitch has been doing for a little bit. I mean, Mitch is our guest, so I think it'd be good. Mitch, tell us about what you've been doing with Alien Worlds and what the wax market has to show for it. You know, like what is the benefit of that marketplace and that token?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been alongside playing a lot of Lost Relics. I've been exploring the blockchain game space for the last couple of months, always looking for what's on the horizon, where things are coming in next, and I would be impossible to ignore the sheer volume and impact that a game like Alien Worlds has on this space. Even though at its most core level, it is a game that is just pushing a button. It feels like a less than an idle game, given you can't even pay to have someone do it. But I think overall, like the opportunity of what I think is possible in Alien Worlds largely comes from the white paper that talks about the game and talks about what sort of the future holds for it. So, you know, I jumped in, bought a land on the 1st of April, have been trying to grow and build a community around that. And for me, the thing that's really exciting about Alien Worlds is that it has sort of this metaverse opportunity, and the developers of the game are really encouraging of people to sort of extend the gameplay and build and encourage landowners to sort of create an experience that's unique for what they for their land. So that's literally something that I've been doing myself, has been building what I'm effectively calling like the meta game, but it's really just an NFT set of collectibles that are sort of a gamified experience built around it. And the sort of first phase of that is basically going live hopefully today. If you guys check your actual wallets on Wax, you will see first mint editions of all of the cards that may or may not be named after you guys.
Ooh.
I might have put a bunch of people that have familiar names in this, all in this little meta game that I'm building.
Very cool.
So there's going to be packs. There's going to be a whole thing to sort of collect and blend and upgrade and unlock all of these different little characters. And this is just sort of like a fun starting system that I'm built out for the beginning. And then the later phase stuff that I'm building will be a little bit more fun, where you're feeling like you're crafting items and working towards some bigger aspirational goals. It's really still pretty early, but for anyone who's wants to get a bunch of free drops and packs, literally all you need to do is come occasionally mine on Neron 717. And if you didn't get, all right, it means I gave something to the wrong person, so that sucks.
Yeah, you definitely gave that to the wrong person.
Same.
I really? Then you put your
We'll
IDs in
discuss
wrong,
later.
man, because I literally grabbed them very carefully.
Okay, maybe I see. Well,
I don't know what to tell you.
I just want to say one thing. Holy
go
crap!
ahead.
It hasn't even been a month since we started mining on Neron 717. It feels like a lot longer than 24 days or whatever it's been.
Yeah, that's the first thing that popped out of my mind is when you said you started April 1st, and I looked at the date and I was just like, damn, a lot has changed in 25 days, huh?
It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Guys,
Absolutely.
just one quick thing here. I know Mitch was talking about packs and giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, guys, the 3 Lamba winners will be announced towards the end of the podcast. So stay tuned for. When do you want to announce it, Aaron?
At the
Within
end.
the
We'll do
next
it at the
10
end.
minutes?
No, we'll do it at the end. We'll do
Do it at the end? Okay.
half an hour or so.
Sounds good.
So I wanna backtrack and then we'll continue with with a little bit about what Mitch is doing. But for those of you who don't know, who just play Lost Relics, or maybe just stumbled upon this podcast and have no idea what the heck we're talking about, Alien Worlds is basically a game as right now where you pick a planet and you can pick hundreds of lands, and each of these lands are owned by individual people. Could be multiple people owning different lands. You go on the land, you click mine, and you get a currency that you can eventually trade for, IRL money if you want. And Mitch owns Neron 717.
717.
It's land 717 on planet Neron. And basically what we do is we all mine on it. We all have our different tools and stuff. We click mine and we get a certain amount of currency. And Mitch gets a really small amount of that in commission. And what Mitch is doing is to make it really interesting to mine on his land is he's making an entire metagame built on that. So not only are you going to be getting TLM and NFTs if you mine on Neron 717, but you're going to be getting stuff for his game. And like you said, he's going to be creating crafting and all this stuff, which is really cool because it's like you play a game like that and it's not even something that comes to the normal player's mind is, okay, I want something more than just the game. It's more just like I play the game. I don't like the game. I quit the game. Like that's how it works usually. But I think it's really sick that Mitch is taking it one step further and be like, hey, I want to give people an incentive to be in this space and not on a different land because I want to create this. So this guy is creating a game within a game. Like, Mitch, do you want to like maybe go into a little bit more detail about like, I don't know, maybe like what you want out of it and like what kind of game people should expect in the future?
Yeah, I mean, so to me, like I have a really ambitious plan in my mind of where I want to sort of take things, and this is all just sort of to educate myself on NFTs and to figure out a fun way to give away things and to make things exciting. I've been researching and playing a lot of all the other sort of active NFT collectible games that are in the space, and my approach is largely based around my experience making free-to-play games. So for me, it's like I expect you to not have to like spend a lot of money. You should be able to get a ton of stuff for free, and this sort of like scarcity of things will come from the fun that comes from collecting things and realizing that or crafting and blending them together and realizing that there's not as many available as you thought there were originally. The overall sort of long-term idea is to eventually maybe turn it into something where there's actual growing of things, crafting things. But right now it's going to be just simply collecting things, blending them together, and trying to fill out a collection. I'm just trying to like build a sort of a little world and a narrative around this because I think there's a lot more room to build on top of Alien Worlds and to make it fun. My long-term hopes are once they roll out landowner NFT drops, I'll be able to seed my actual land with proper drops, so everyone that's mining will get them automatically. Right now, it's going to be a little bit more of like a whitelist-based system. So if you're on the Discord, if you've left your address, you're pretty much already set. There's nothing to really worry about. Otherwise, you'll see lots of links pop in, and overall, the rest of things are going to start to drop in. If you go to yieldsquad.io, the initial website is up, but there's not really much to see there right now. There will be more in the next few days. I'm just trying to get it all there. I'm getting the packs. I'll put packs up soon once I get the collection approved and whitelisted. There's a bunch of steps that have to go on first. But
Mitch,
yeah.
just for reference, could you give maybe the audience a little bit of a color on terms of what what you've seen other people do creatively within Alien Worlds and how you're potentially mixing in your creative thought process with that?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've seen a few different trends that are starting up in that space in terms of the way that landowners are trying to like market and promote their lands. So the most popular one are the crypto monkeys or the crypto miners guys. They have their own collectible card series that are just built off of a similar drop system as the main game, with wide ranges of rarities that you can get. And to me, like they're if you look at the actual marketplace activities on Atomic Hub, they're actually gaining traction for their cards, and they're purely artistic from what I've seen. So I think there's a large opportunity to do art-driven promotions, but I expect to see more games and other things built and layered on top. The thing that like I talked about with Striker that would be fun is you could literally do like an MLB weekend and you could seed your land with MLB Tops cards, and people that are mining on your land could get those as like a special event. So there's going to be so many things you can do. You won't have to just seed your land with NFTs from Alien Worlds. The system is going to be designed so that you can put NFTs from virtually anywhere, which I think is going to be really fun.
Extremely exciting, to be honest. Like the creativity, the game within the game, the ability to build in this space is just hats off to you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm eager to give away a lot of things and to create something that's unique and compelling for everyone to enjoy.
Definitely.
Yeah, and let's continue on the wax. We'll go down the wax rabbit hole. Strike, you want to talk about what happened at the end of last week
Yeah, definitely. So,
or this week? I guess.
so right. So, and Tops just released a new NFT project, I guess you can say, or collectible items on the Wax blockchain. So, for me specifically, coming from my background, like I've been in sports cards collecting and investing, for honestly 10, 20 plus years now, right? Since I was a kid, honestly. And ever since blockchain really started to become a thing, that I became aware of back in 2017, I've always been considering the idea of like what happens when sports teams, whether they're fan tokens or memorabilia, what happens when those projects start to go on, start to transition onto the blockchain. And we've already seen what that could potentially look like with NBA Top Shots on Ethereum, right? And Tops and the MLB collaborating on the Wax marketplace, I think has the ability to do be able to compete against Top Shots. The main things that popped out in my mind were that Tops as a company just recently went public and specifically stated that their focus is going to be a digital based brand and products. And they want to go ahead and transition their sports cards and collectible cards onto the blockchain. Like this project is, the way I've described it, as Tops dipping their toe into the space, right? The collecting industry is already a multi-billion-dollar industry. And they're wanting to make this transition. So I had to take the opportunity to get involved with Wax, to learn about it, to understand the market. And I made sure that I was there for launch day. And thanks to some of you, I was able to get a hold of an initial pack, because I was not fortunate enough to be able to buy one on launch. They sold out immediately. Yeah, so I dipped my toes in. I got in the market. I made sure to go ahead and get a good position for the future, and I'm excited because it's my two worlds combining, right? The sports card and crypto worlds aligning.
That's the thing, is like, man, it is so much more than MLB at this point too. Like, the hockey hasn't even got into it yet, and Austin Matthews, who is my favorite hockey player, he plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs, dropped an NFT collection, and his 1 of 1 sold for 40 ETH. 40
Yep.
$100,000 US. And there are some physical benefits, like you get a signed jersey, you get a meet and greet with him virtually, and you get some tickets to a game. But that's like a couple $1,000s. Like this NFT, let's say it sold for even 38 ETH, whatever. This is crazy, and it's more than like it's MLB now, which is sick because Wax makes it really easy to transfer. Right now, I think MLB did a great job putting it on Wax because it makes it so free to just be like, I want to buy a pack. Okay, you know what? I got these players. I want to just sell them for 20 cents. And it's like you're not paying a lot of gas fees for right now. And Engine is going to fix, like, I know they're working on for the future for JumpNet and ETH 2.0. And JumpNet looks like it's going to be great when everyone migrates over there. But right now, man, like like other than obviously the apparent server issues that's been happening on the Wax network because of the traffic that they've received through Alien Worlds, and I think Alien Worlds and MLB like predominantly. I think it's incredible. Like it's exactly what we want out of NFTs, right? Like I want to send something to my friend. Like Striker need a pack. I send Striker a pack. Boom, 10 seconds, done. I want to list something. Someone wants it. Boom, I have the Wax in my account, and it's like that's the future of NFTs. Is just someone wants to make a collection, they post it. Like Fedzi released his Freaky Foods NFT collection, sold out instantly. You click drop. It's just like anyone can make a drop. You got to get whitelisted. Make sure they want to make sure you're not making any, I don't know, maybe like bigoted content and stuff. Anything really obscene. And it's like you want it. It's in your account instantly, and you want to send it away. It's there too. Like I don't know. I just see the sky's the limit there. Eminem is doing a NFT drop today.
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
Is he really?
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
is.
Yeah.
know
That just came out.
Wow.
It did. Okay, well I missed it. And
I gotta
I'm
look
really
into
pissed
that.
off now, but
Oh, I don't know if it came out immediately. I'm sorry, the news recently.
Yeah, the news
yeah,
just
I
came
saw
out.
yeah.
he posted a picture of he posted a video of Pete Davidson doing like a parody to his "Without Me" song, dressed as Rap Boy, which is pretty cool. But it's just like, man, it's we're still so early, man.
Oh yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe. And even if you don't know what an NFT is yet, and you don't know what the crypto space is and NFT space, like do your research now and get in now. Like we have not missed the boat yet. The boat isn't even close to taking off. Like
Nope.
it's
The
just,
way I see it is we're in 2013 of Bitcoin for NFTs. That's how I personally see it. Now that
Yep.
doesn't mean there's not going to be ups and downs. Obviously, nothing just goes up, but that's just the way I see it.
yeah, it's man, it's crazy because I'm a sports guy too, and I love collectibles. Like literally beside me right now are like 12 PSA cards, like right beside my
Yeah.
left hand, and it's like when you already know when NHL does what I don't care what market it is. Like I'm buying all of the packs and I'm getting there for all the drops. Like I love like sports in general, so like I got some MLB stuff, I got some NBA stuff, but it's like this is like a whole new market, and I definitely I've been noticing on social media a lot of people are like what is this? Like, why don't I just take a screenshot of this and I own it? And it's, I think as people become more educated and stuff, there'll be even more mainstream adoption. But I think it's like, it's new and it's scary because it's like, a lot of people are like, why do I want this digital thing that doesn't do anything? You know, like it's a
Yeah.
virtual trading card, but it's like, why
Yeah,
do you
well,
want
why do I want a piece of cardboard with paint on it?
exactly
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
oh, it's a piece of plastic, like it doesn't do anything, but it's still sick. Like people like collecting stuff, and that doesn't have to just be limited to physical things. Like it's sick to be able to look and be like, this is mine, I own this, and I can transfer it and it has real value to it. So that's why I think it's gonna get there. I think we're already getting there because I wasn't in that boat with I was in the boat of skepticism. I wasn't in the boat of like, oh, this is dumb. Because I don't usually look at stuff like that. I try to evaluate it. But I think we're gonna get to the point where mainstream adoption comes, and I think it's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, I think I think one of the main things that I was the most impressed with that really honestly Wax stood out with me is that Crypto Slam website that you showed me, Mitch.
Yeah.
Where they're able to aggregate the data in terms of NFT sales and projects. And it's very exciting to see the different projects listed side by side, right? To get a comparison of size and scope. Obviously the first thing you're going to notice is that engine products are not listed, right? So in terms of Lost Relics, that gives me a lot of confidence in the future, because I still am under the belief that a majority of the crypto community is unaware of the game.
I agree.
Obviously we've had some major growth, but I still think that's nothing compared to what could be. But in terms of Wax, I mean, Wax is up there competing. Alien Worlds and MLB Tops is they're up there competing with some of the biggest Ethereum projects, right? And obviously Wax brings benefits that Ethereum cannot when it comes to scaling and ease of use, right?
Dude, the friction-free transactions on Wax cannot be understated. The amount of fun and like it just to be able to wheel and deal without those kind of delays. to be able to just send something to someone without any friction. Like we lend each other items in Alien Worlds all the time, and it's never a big deal. It just sends them over. When they're done, they send them back, and there's just like when you have established trust, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's like
Sure.
we have like Coromenti invests like he's like, oh, I'm gonna invest 1K into these tools in Alien Worlds. Hey, Aaron, I have 3 extra of them. Do you want to just use them and then like you can give them back to me when I want to sell them? Sure. Sends them over. Okay, they're in my account. I can use them right away. Like
Click one button.
yeah. The difference is
Imagine. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say the difference is he decides he wants to sell it tomorrow. I send it back and nothing changed. Whereas like obviously there's gonna be frictionless transactions in the future. Hopefully when we get to like ETH 2.0 and all that stuff. But for now, it's just like that's where Wax is superior to right now. Is that it's just really easy.
Yeah, but imagine when Engine can leverage that, because right now, when everyone in the average investor's mindset, I'd say they think, oh, Engine gaming, but they don't know, oh, Engine marketplace. Like I've seen that a lot. A lot of my buddies, they know what Engine is, they know the tokenomics, but they don't know what the Engine X marketplace is. They didn't even know it existed. And I'm like, you're missing out. But at the same time, it's like you're not fully missing out, because there is all these fees that you'd have to cover to just get a couple items. So imagine when Engine can leverage the same thing that Wax can in the future with Affinity, and especially having a domain as NFT.io. Like that is a huge website name that you could have, a domain.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to get really interesting. And when you look into the future, it will get taken to a whole other level when parachains are all on live, where items are going to be frequently moving between marketplaces, between chains on different exchanges. Like the supply and demand of items will be a lot different than we're used to, even just for the next coming months.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely.
So why do you guys think like okay, we're looking at like adoption. We're talking about mainstream adoption. Like why hasn't blockchain gaming become this like huge like force in the
What do you
in,
consider to be a huge force?
like why are we not receiving mainstream adoption yet simply because people don't know about it, or do you think there's something missing right now?
Man, go ahead, Striker. I'll leave this one in your hands.
Curious.
No, I just think look, I think that the technology in general, first off, like when you say adoption, I think it matters on perspective, right? Because people that have been in the space since 2013 already are like, we're the adoption that they've seen is 10x, 100x, you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of perspective. But if you're talking about like the whole world working on like adopting it, then I think we start talking about the ability, the ease of use for basic businesses and individuals and people that want to work on the blockchain. I think it's getting easier and easier and easier, but I do think that adoption of blockchain, of the technology, because of coronavirus, is growing so fast that even the technology of new chains, layer 2 solutions can't even keep up with that. Like there's such a huge demand from like the world's population that like these blockchain projects, like there's no way they can keep up. They're honestly like all we can do is really like follow the leading horses and watch the race unfold, but the same reason, the same ability that Wax has to pull in users, like there's different blockchains all over the space that are doing the same thing, and they're in their respective industries, right? So when you're looking at one industry by itself compared to the entire eco space, like it is different, so I would venture to say that we're on the precipice of mass adoption, and I think gaming is the easiest way to make it happen, because honestly, how easy it was for you all to jump into Lost Relics and start learning how to use just the Engine wallet by itself is an accomplishment. And it took you and it took gamers a lot shorter of a time frame to be able to do that than the average person.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I was gonna say-
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Jay. Okay,
No,
so
I
I
was
was
just
gonna
gonna say. Yeah, you go, then I'm going. Go.
Okay, so just to answer Aaron's question here, Aaron, the reason that I think there hasn't been that big of mainstream adoption is because there is all of these games. Honestly, the only game that I've seen with proper UI and clean gameplay and that is smooth by far is Lost Relics. Okay. Everything else that I've seen has been graphics are bad, quality is bad. Okay, in other words,
Early.
honestly, if it's not Lost Relics, it's okay.
Having said that, we're really early, so I get it. I actually think there are some games that are pretty decent that we haven't given a shot yet. I have seen some good, like something like Hodl God caught my eye because it looks really, really cool. Like the graphics look really cool. I've seen some stuff like Six Dragons. I think for at least for playability, I think Lost Relics has the most out of all the games we've played so far, and it feels good for sure. But I think I agree with Yusuf here in that I think it's just we're early, and it's like we're talking early access, right? And it's like maybe mainstream adoption doesn't come until games are finished and games are released and people have a finished product. And I mean, to be honest, it's probably good we don't have mainstream adoption in Lost Relics. I think Cliff likes it that way, that we can. I mean, we're basically like this is like a big stress test for him, right? Like everything that's happening now. And I realized that Jared wanted to talk, so I'll let Drift chime in on that a little bit.
Yeah, no worries. Basically what I was just going to say is yeah, there's a lot of newer individuals too. Like I know myself, when I first even heard of crypto, a lot of people get either a slight scare, because whether it's even the investing side, people don't know how to invest, whether it's the gaming side, people don't know how to get started. They instantly think like, okay, it's with crypto. Maybe they have a bad experience with crypto in the past and maybe it throws them off. So I think over time, as these new people who, whether they had bad experiences or whether they just don't know anything about crypto, I think as they start seeing certain accomplishments, I guess that start happening over time, and maybe as they start like really hearing, this happens, there's this much market activity, or this game's coming out with a new NFT and it's going for X amount. So I think as more things start happening, and which we're already kind of getting to, but even on a bigger rates, I think more people will kind of get that FOMO, sort of feeling and say, okay, like how are these people making X amount of money, or how are they getting these NFTs? What can I be doing to get those NFTs? And I think it takes time for people to like catch on and actually understand, rather than us, talking and kind of helping each other out. A lot of people are in the dark, playing by themselves, and it takes them longer to either learn or adapt and figure things out.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I think we're
I
getting
think
to
we should announce the
I
giveaway
think we're getting
winners
to the
there.
point where I think
Oh,
I'm
that's-
excited.
Yeah, good time. You guys
we
do
can
that.
do this. Okay. Without further ado, and like I said, these will not be sent right away because we still have to wait for these to be minted, and we are not sure when they're going to be, but we have the names. So
Drum
we're
roll,
actually going to have to
please.
we know two of these people, but we're going to have to contact the third and verify it by email. But I should have, like, this is why I need a Go XLR, so I can have a drum roll sound effect,
Well, I don't have one, unfortunately.
All right. So we have winner number one is Ydem, who is
Hey, why them?
Congrats,
Ydem.
congrats, a familiar name for all of our streams. And these
Congratulations to Ydem. Congrats. Come up to the front so we can give you your Lambo.
Very nice.
Go on.
So we're gonna
Wow.
keep these. Don't worry, we have your contact info. We're gonna let you know. And there's still two more winners. It's nice to see some familiar faces winning because we do, a lot of us do stream every day. And having said that, the second winner is another familiar face, Gillian Adriano. I hope Gillian's here.
Gillian, watch
Good old
out.
Gil.
I think it's pretty
Let's
early
go.
in the morning for Gillian, but I
He's
think
probably
in here.
knocked out.
Yeah. It's very. Oh,
No, he's
said,
here.
"Yo,
He's
well."
here.
This guy was messaging me with the giveaway. He's like,
Got
I hope I
moderated.
win. He was messaging me last week. I hope I win. I hope I win. Ydem actually won through following Yusuf on Twitch. We actually have the statistics
Wow.
for that.
Nice.
Rigged.
Gillian won by entering the unique code, and our third winner also won by entering the unique code. Their name is Gonzalo Garcia de Leon. We're gonna. I
Dilly
don't.
going for the win.
I'm not sure who.
yeah.
I'm not sure who this is by Twitch name, but we're going to be contacting the email to just get a confirmation as to who that is, just so we are sending it to the right person. But Gonzalo, congratulations!
Hell yeah.
Those are our 3 winners for the giveaway. We're going to be doing giveaways, more giveaways in the future. Some for Lost Relics. I'm sure Mitch will throw some stuff our way when we have him on again once his metagame for Alien Worlds is more in development, and as we get different devs on, I'm sure we're going to be doing some stuff with other games as well.
Yep.
Yeah, when JumpNet actually opens up, I plan to auction off that Lambo behind me as well. My wife painted this.
Oh yeah, feel free to
Yeah,
plug
let's
that.
get a
Yeah.
close up. There we
Lambo
go. Oh
painting.
yeah.
For anyone who's a hardcore Lambo player,
Yo, that's me right there. I want that.
I'm my plan is to make some
Wow.
digital mints that'll be on probably both the Wax Marketplace as well as the JumpNet Marketplace when it doesn't cost a ton to post it. And then there'll be a special one of one that I'm going to put up as an auction, and whoever buys it, I will mail them that actual painting.
Very cool.
So
Oh,
for
very
anyone who's
sick. I think
into
Very
that.
awesome, Mitch.
I think before we lead off here, Mitch, I think I speak for everyone when I say we really appreciate having you here and your input as well. Is there anything you want to leave us off with? Anything you want to plug us, like more than the Lambo? Anything you want to tell the viewers about? Oh, nice. I got a Steam notification. Hopefully that goes away. All right, guys. New streamer, by the way. Mitch, yeah, feel free. Like, take us to the end.
I mean, no, I don't have anything too major to plug. I mean, it's awesome just being able to like see this community grow, to see all the different games and experiences that we're all able to sort of find and explore together. To me, this is like absolutely a new frontier overall. I call this the third wave of games when I think of like the sort of history of games in general, from the sort of boxed retail games from the late 80s of Nintendo to the move into free-to-play games on MMOs and then on Facebook and then mobile. To me, blockchain is the next wave. It's the future of where things are going, and it's not going to just be a wave. It's going to be a tsunami. Like, this is really where things are headed. And when we say it's early, it really is. You know, for anyone who played Facebook games back in the day, like, we're at like Mouse Hunt era. Like, we haven't even had Farmville release yet. Like, we are so early in this space. So, like, you know, as we always say, buckle up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Buckle up.
Closing thoughts,
I like
Yusuf.
that.
Anything you wanna add?
Man, honestly, the growth, like Mitch said, I should say, the growth has been insane. Honestly, we appreciate you all tuning in today. It means the world to see there's other familiar faces that are looking to learn, and because you see the way I see it is just like Mitch said, we need to buckle up, we need to be ready, but it's good to connect with the community, you know. And I feel like this is a great way, like podcasts is a great way of just, you know, picking other people's brains and getting on different guests to see what their thoughts are, getting different perspectives on different things. So once again, Mitch, thank you for being here.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm extremely happy that you were able to come on, Mitch, and I'm excited for the future because I know that I definitely want to be sitting down with you and creating a little bit of content relating to the MLB tops collection on Wax, and I'm just excited to explore the space going forward. So thank you, my friend, for coming on.
Well, my pleasure.
Jerry, you want to give us something?
Yeah, for sure. No, I was gonna just say, you know, thanks, Mitch. Of course, everyone already thanked him, so I don't want to repeat my words. But yeah, for anyone else who just kind of listened into and, you know, may kind of still be wondering a few things, you know, don't be shy. You could always ask someone else. You can ask one of us. I'm sure all of us will be more than happy to answer further questions. So, you know, just really appreciate everyone watching, and as well as Mitch, you know, coming on the show to talk to us.
Anytime.
Yeah, guys, like everyone said, I can't say it any better. Thank you, Mitch, for being an incredible guest. Thank you for being here and, I don't know, informing everyone of your projects for the future and giving your insight, because you've been in the industry of game development for so long. So guys, thank you very much for joining us for our second episode of the NFT Gaming Podcast. We will be live for this podcast every Sunday, and we will be announcing the guest later this week. So make sure to tune in to the NFT Gaming streams. You have AAA Drifting, Strike Team Games, Yusuf, Kenzie DK, and Tyranitar LR. So that'll be all of us signing off. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys.
Take care,
Thanks,
guys.
Peace
Take care.
out.